People YouTube, my name is Sckullie and welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be covering Equinox Prime. I absolutely love this Warframe. I've been playing her exclusively for the last month and a half, and I wanted to get this video out for the 13th anniversary of Warframe, but we are a little late. Let's get into game here. We got a little bit of 13th anniversary fashion. Her in her night form, she's absolutely beautiful, and in her day form, she's an absolute badass. I love it. If you just want to see the build will be right here for those people who just want to copy and paste. But if you want more of an explanation, we're going to do that right now. But before we start the video, I want to remind you guys to drop me a like if you end up enjoying what you see. And if you're new to my channel, why not subscribe? You know I'd always appreciate it, and it'll give you more. So with all that said, let's get to Equinox and her build. So first things first, it's very important to know that Equinox is one of those frames that you can build however you want. She's very versatile. You can build her as a tank. You can build her as a support. You can build her as a nuke. You can build her as a hybrid of any of those combinations, and it would still be valid. I've looked through a ton of builds online, done a bunch of research, just to get a really good grasp of this Warframe, and it seems like the most popular option for her is to just keep her in her day form and just nuke everything, which is fine. It works really well, especially in higher level content. She's great for like void cascades. I use her, or for any steel path content really. She just does a really good job at clearing the field. But when it came to that nuke build where you're just using her in her day form, I feel like that really limits her kit. I feel like the whole appeal of playing Equinox is to be able to switch back and forth from her two forms and use her abilities equally. And that day form nuke that the majority of people are using really doesn't let you do that. Not saying that it's wrong at all. If you want to play her that way, you can, and that's fine. But for me, I wanted to be able to switch between her night and day form and be able to use them equally. So let's get into the build and I'll explain to you what I've done. Alright folks, so here's the build. We're going to go over everything, the mods, the arcanes, how and why I chose them and why they work. But before we get into that, I'm just going to go over the abilities here on the left hand panel. So we have 73% duration, which isn't bad. We only have one ability that really relies on duration. The other two are channeled abilities, and the other one's a toggle, basically. So we don't need high duration. In fact, you could probably do this build with very low duration. We have 45% efficiency. Now, that is extremely low. From what I've seen, that is extremely low for an Equinox, but I found a way around it, and I'll explain more about it later. 235% range. Now, for Equinox, having a ton of range is really good, but also you do not want to sacrifice strength. We have 194%, which scales up a little bit due to Molt Augmented. Man, words are really freaking hard today. So with Molt Augmented, we get our ability strength up to like 250%, which is fine. It's good. Like with all my builds, I try to sacrifice as little as possible while simultaneously trying to get back as much as I can. So I had to make sacrifices in the efficiency department to get both my strength and range to be as high as possible, because we are going to be playing this Warframe as a support and a nuke frame at the same time. And in my opinion, this is just the best way I found to do it given the resources that I had. So we're going to go over the mods now. So we got corrosive projection. Now, to be honest, you could pretty much use whatever aura mod that you got. But in my opinion, corrosive projection or brief respite are probably like the two best options. I decided to go with corrosive projection because of how her 4 works. Enemies lose negative 18% armor. And because we're going to be using her as a nuke as well, having that negative 18% armor is just beneficial all around. We also got primary sure-footed or prime sure-footed. This is like the bread and butter for any high level content, unless your Warframe can prevent being knocked down. Use it. Don't. It's up to you. You can use that. You can use your aura slot as a flex slot if you don't have it. I realized on my last video that I did not mention that there is a normal version of sure-footed. So if you do not have primary sure-footed, you can definitely use this. So definitely use that if you would rather not be knocked down. We got Precision Intensify for our next mod, which will give 90% ability strength to your 4th ability. Remember, we're going to be using her as a nuke, so we need to get as much ability strength as possible for her 4. The other abilities that she have, although they kind of rely on ability strength, they don't really need like a total dump of ability strength to perform well. And we want to be able to secure our nukes. We want to make sure that We kill everything at a distance every time. And I feel like Precision Intensify will help out with that. We got Overextended, and I'm going to couple this with Stretch. Now, range is very important for her, because the only way she can build up stacks on her Mend and Maim is if that ability is active and in range of any damaged instances. And we'll go into this. It's a whole thing. There's a lot to her. She's a very complicated frame, but once you play her enough, it's easy to pick up. So range is very important. We got Stretch and Overextended, and of course we take that negative 60% hit from ability or from Overextended. So to counter that, we use Molt Augmented. After 250 kills, we get another 60% ability strength that will counter the negative 60% hit from Overextended. Cool. Now we got Transient Fortitude. We want more ability strength. And we take a negative hit to duration, but that doesn't fucking matter because we have 2 channel abilities and only one ability that really relies on duration, but it also doesn't matter. So we are more than willing to take that hit. We got Health Conversion. Now hear me out. Health Conversion actually has a synergy with Arcane Battery that Arcane Battery and Equilibrium. Words are hard today. Words are hard today. Words! Health Conversion has a synergy with Battery, Arcane Battery, and Equilibrium that we will be abusing to get energy, and I'll explain that later how it works. We also got Blind Rage. Of course, we need more ability strength, more damage, everyone. We're going to pile on all the damage, but we take a hit to ability efficiency, meaning that our abilities are going to be super expensive. But that is okay. Lastly, we got Equilibrium, this is a common mod that's used for her. Her passive already gives you like a little equilibrium. This on top will just allow you to maintain health and energy. Simple as that. And lastly, we have Energy Transfer, which is an augment for her. We're going to be using this because we're going to be constantly switching back from her night and day form, and this allows us to retain our stacks for our 4, where normally when you would switch from night and day form, you don't keep your stacks, you lose them, but this mod allows you to keep that. So, okay, so now that we got her mods out of the way, I want to talk about her abilities, why I've chosen to do them that way, and then we'll go into the synergies with her arcanes and her mods. So first of all, I subsumed Terrify from Necros into her 2. Now, normally for her day form nuke builds, Terrify is normally subsumed into her 1, keeping you from alternating between her day and night form, which is fine. You can absolutely do that, but remember, this build is going to allow you to play both builds. So her 1 allows you to alternate between her day and night form. Terrify from Necros allows you to armor strip everything. So hear me out. When it comes to subsuming abilities into Warframe, I try really hard not to change up the kit too much. But unfortunately, because of how her 4 works, Terrify is a necessity to make her work as a nuke or for just pure survivability in general. Terrify is one of the strongest armor strip abilities that you can get in-game, and it really does synergize pretty well with how her 4 works, and I'll explain to you why that is in just a little bit. So by far the hardest parts of her kit to understand are her 3 and 4. What you guys should take away from this, if anything, is that if you are in night form, your 3 and 4 are support abilities. If you are in day form, your 3 and 4 are nuke or DPS abilities. We'll cover her 3 briefly. So in night form, if you have your 3 channeled, or if it's active, you reduce incoming damage to you. If you are in day form, you increase the ability strength of yourself and your allies around you by a certain amount. Now, that certain amount has a cap of 50%. As you can see here, the ability strength given when you have that ability active is at 38%. That's only because it's not counting what you would get from Bolt Augmented, which I'm pretty sure it actually gets you closer to that 50%, if not the 50%. I really don't feel like doing the math right now. Lastly, we're going to cover her 4. If you are in night form and you have your 4 active or channeled, for every enemy that you kill, you get shields replenished. If you were to deactivate her 4 when you are in night form, you get health and shields back for you and your teammates. Now, in day form, if you have the ability active or channeled, you'll do an AoE of slash damage around you. Honestly, that's not really important. What is important is when you deactivate it. When you deactivate her 4 while in day form, you do a AoE explosion of slash damage, and this is how she's able to nuke. Now, there's one very important thing that you need to understand about her 4, more specifically about the slash damage that she does with her 4. It is not like normal slash damage in game. The slash damage that she does with her 4 is not like normal slash damage that you would get from a primary, secondary, or melee weapon. For some reason, her form of slash damage does not go through armor. Normally, when you provide a slash proc to an enemy, it goes straight through armor, doing the full damage. It ignores armor, basically. Unlike the slash damage that you would get from a primary, secondary, or melee weapon, her 4 slash damage does not go through armor. Normally, slash damage on your weapons ignores armor and just does damage. Enemies with armor will resist the damage done by her slash. Why this is that way, I don't know. Is it stupid? Yes. Because of that fact, we have to subsume an ability that allows you to armor strip enemies, which is why we have Terrify. Her default 2, which would normally give you more damage vulnerability on enemies and will put the enemies to sleep, was basically useless when I was playing her as a Dayform nuke. I never used it, it was not necessary. I only felt it was right to get rid of it and put Terrify in. So just remember, if you're ever going to use her nuke, you're going to want to hit Terrify first and then her nuke. The way that I play her is I start her off in Night Form. I will activate her 3 and 4. I will charge up her mend and maim stacks until I see an enemy that I want to just insta-kill or I need to wipe the field. When I figured out that I need to do either of those two things, I will switch into her day form. And then I will hit 3, 2, 4. Once my nuke is gone, I'll switch back into her night form, hit 3, 4, and build stacks again. So before we go into demonstration, I'm going to talk to you about the Archon shards that I chose. They're pretty straightforward. We got 1, 2 for casting speed. We got 2 for efficiency on energy orbs. Now, you only really need 1. I chose 2. This second one here could be like a flex slot. You can put literally whatever you want. And then our last shard, we have an Azure Archon shard for health. That's it. Okay, so before I show you guys how the kit works, I want to show you guys how the synergy between Arcane Battery, Health Conversion, and Equilibrium work. So essentially, every time I pick up a health orb, whether it's dropped from enemies or just picked up from the arena, my armor will go up. When my armor goes up, my energy pool will go up. There you go. And because we're using Equilibrium every time we touch a health orb, we also get back energy. That's how that works. This basically gives us infinite energy as long as there's enemies around. The only investment that you need is Arcane Battery, Health Conversion, and Equilibrium, which more or less are going to be some combination of mods that you would naturally use on an Equinox. That's how that works. I also have a Def Cube Prime to help me basically print energy orbs as I'm fighting. This will just help keep the stacks of health conversion going, keeping my health pool deep. And I'll show you guys just a quick Def Cube build here. So that is my Def Cube, and I'm using the Tazakor for armor and shield stripping, and this is my Tazakor. So the Def Cube Prime is also there to help support her kit. So we are going to do a little bit of a demonstration here to explain how and why. Every time I begin a mission, I start off in night form. This is really just personal preference, but I feel like her night form has better survivability. With her 3, you resist some damage. With her 4, every time you kill an enemy, you recharge your shields, so better survivability. So I'll approach an enemy with both my 3 and 4 active. 3 is not really necessary, but, you know, resist damage. I'll kill the enemy is dead. Every time you kill an enemy, or an instance of damage happens within the radius of your 4. This is why ability range is so important for her. You will get a stack of... I'm sorry, I know that sound is annoying, give me one moment. You will get a stack of mend. Now, we get mend because we are in night form, but if I were to switch over to day form, you will see that it will change to maim. The reason it retains its stacks is because we have energy transfer. So every time an instance of damage happens around you, you will get mend and maim stacks. The only time an instance of damage will not count towards your mend and maim stacks is when it's coming from a Warframe ability. That's pretty much, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much it. But if your teammates or you yourself use your primary, secondary, or melee weapons within the radius of your 4th ability, you will get mend or maim stacks. So your teammates can help you boost your nuke. So I mentioned earlier in the video that any primary, secondary, or melee weapon that does damage within the radius of your mend and maim will give you those stacks. There are weapons that are better at giving stacks to Equinox than others. For example, with the turret or beam weapons in general, because you can hit multiple enemies at once, it's just naturally better at providing stacks for mend and maim. So we're gonna hit our 4, and we're just gonna wipe everything out here. And after all the damage has been dealt, you get back stacks. Another weapon that's really good at doing this, and then we're going to simulate enemies. The reason this weapon is so good at giving Equinox stacks is, once again, it can do multiple instances of damage. I just want to make sure I have full energy here. I'm going to hit my 4, and I'm going to use the alternate fire on the Coda Bass Assist. As you can see there, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I forgot the Bass Assist does that. And there it is again. As you can see, you can build up stacks quite quickly. So ideally, when you use Equinox, you want to use like a beam weapon or the Coda Bass Assist. I've done a lot of like testing, and I haven't found anything that beats beam or the Bass Assist itself. But if you guys know of any weapons that can do multiple instances of damage, like a laser or the Bass Assist here, please let me know, because I'm personally not a big fan of using weapons that are in the meta. So we're gonna do a live playthrough, basically a Steel Path survival solo, just to demonstrate how her kit works. We got the turret, we got our def cube. So we're going to be doing this for 5 minutes until the Acolyte comes. We're going to build stacks the entire time, though. We're using the turret, again, to build up those stacks even quicker, because we get multiple instances of damage. If you guys want to see what the nuke does look like, that's what it looks like when you set it off. But right now, we're just killing everything just to build up stacks. We've already got a total of 304 kills, so you're getting the full benefits of Mult Augmented. We have Acolytes and the Sentients coming. So I know that the Acolyte's coming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just switch to my day form and activate my 3. Wait for it to spawn. I'm going to hit my Terrify and nuke. And everything in like a 55 meter radius. No, it's actually like 41 meters. Everything in like a 41 meter radius will be affected by that. The closer you are to the enemy you are trying to kill, the more damage you will do, though. Just so you can see what it looks like when you're killing a bunch of enemies at once, we're going to switch to day form, we're going to hit our 3, we're going to hit our 2, and then boom. That's what her nuke looks like on a bunch of smaller enemies. If there's anything that I can do to improve this build and you guys have like an idea about it, I really like to know, because I've been playing this Warframe for the last month and a half now, and I feel like I've exhausted everything. So if anybody got any other ideas, I would love to see what the higher end of the spectrum is for Equinox. And that's going to be the end of the video. Ladies and gents, if you enjoyed what you saw today, please drop me a like, and I will see you guys on my next video. My name is Sckullie, and I'm signing off.